In the Heights. In the Heights is a musical directed by John M. Chu, based on the Broadway musical created by Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator of Hamilton. It stars Anthony Ramos as Usnavi, our young protagonist who lives in the Washington Heights barrio of New York. The movie follows Usnavi and his family, friends, and neighbors as they navigate life in this section of New York and the trials and tribulations that they face, with, of course, a lot of singing and dancing thrown in. First and foremost, I want to say that I am a fan of musicals. I really love La La Land, I like Grease, and the High School Musical movies are cinematic masterpieces, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
What the heck are those two doing in a tree?
That being said, I don't like every musical I see, and there's a lot that I haven't seen, so coming into this one, I was curious to see what my feelings would be. I know of Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I have never seen Hamilton. So I didn't have any preconceived notions there, but I know that everyone says that he was really good at this, so I was expecting it to be well written. And for the most part, it is. The characters are very charismatic. It's interesting to watch them go about their lives, living in a place that's very different than the place I live, and having problems that are very unlike problems that I would have. So that was the first pro of this movie, so let me just keep going through my pros. John M. Chu does a very good job directing this movie. I have no complaints there. There was nothing that really stood out to me as being incredible, but it was good. It was a good job. The actors do a good job. Their singing is good for the most part. I felt that some were better at singing than others, especially Corey Hawkins. I thought he was the best of all of them, and you may know him as Dr. Dre from Straight Outta Compton, because that's how I knew him, but man, does that guy have a voice. While most of the characters are very sympathetic and you root for them, there are a couple of very small side characters that were really, really annoying, but it doesn't take away from how well written the other characters were. And I knew this going in, but you can really tell that Lin-Manuel Miranda really did grow up in Washington Heights, and this movie was to showcase the neighborhood he grew up in. And you can really tell there's a feeling of familiarity and love for the community there. And there's one song in the movie, which was also in the trailer, that is very catchy and it sticks in your head. Now for the negatives. I felt like this movie was way too long for a musical, and that usually stems from the fact that it was adapted from Broadway. And Broadway musicals are meant to be, 2.5, 3 hours. But as a movie, it really felt like it dragged in certain areas and that it could have been cut down. And one of the ways to cut down is to have a few less songs. And I know it sounds weird to be complaining about number of songs in a musical, but there were so many that happened so close to each other that things would happen and I'd be like, wow, really? Another one? And certain characters who didn't really feel like they deserved their own song or their own part of a song, where you're like, we're spending all this time doing that. Okay, sure, why not? It gives good insight into everyone who lives in Washington Heights, but if you could just focus up the narrative, it would tighten up the story and make it flow a little better. And that's not just for songs. Narratively, too, there are almost too many people that are being focused on, so it doesn't allow you to delve deep enough into any one or a couple of people. In most narratives, you have one main character or a couple main characters that are the central focus. In this one, there were a handful that we really try to delve into their problems, into their lives, and it's really nice to see, and it highlights issues that may not be in the front of your mind, but narratively, it really slows things. And except for that one song, most of the songs I felt were pretty unmemorable. I wouldn't be able to sing them later, and even now, I can't even remember most of the other ones.
It's all a blur.
So with a musical, you're going to want people to be able to sing along upon further viewings, and I felt that you wouldn't really be able to do much of that in this one. And that's another thing. Rewatchability seems pretty low, at least for me on this one, and I think that's because of the length. It's so long, and I didn't enjoy as many of the songs as I thought I would, so I don't know how often I'm going to revisit this, if ever. That being said, this movie was enjoyable on the first watch, but I was kind of expecting a little more. So I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. In the Heights could have reached higher heights. Truthfully, I felt like the best parts of this movie didn't have to do with it being a musical at all. It was when the movie delved into the problems that these young adults were facing in this neighborhood, problems that are prevalent in today's society, and it's good to bring them to the forefront. So for that, I give them a thumbs up. Alright guys, well if you like this review, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out, and check back for more reviews soon. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.